The 2019-20 Detroit Red Wings are absolutely without a doubt the worst NHL team in recent memory. They're on pace to be much worse than the 2016-17 Colorado Avalanche and the 2013-14 Buffalo Sabres. And every time that this Detroit team seemingly hits rock bottom, it only continues to get worse, and I cannot see any scenario where it gets any better for the remainder of the season. The Red Wings even get dominated by teams that aren't even close to a playoff spot, and from now to the end of the season, the Red Wings have the second hardest remaining schedule in the entire NHL, so like I said, things could honestly just continue to get even worse for them. And on top of Detroit being absolutely far and away the worst team in the NHL, I swear they have to be the most unlucky team as well, whether it's a puck jumping over a player's stick in front of an empty net, whether it's pucks bouncing off Detroit defenders and going in past Bernier and Howard, and even the injuries. You look at a guy like Anthony Mantha, who started the year off so promising. Detroit was 3-1 through the first 4 games. Mantha had like 5 goals and 7 points in the first 2 games of the season, but of course his season had to be absolutely derailed with injuries. You look at Athanasiou, who's having an abysmal season. The Wings definitely needed a lot more from Athanasiou this year, and he hasn't really given them anything. And even a guy like Dylan Larkin, who is the best player on this team, he has struggled offensively this season compared to last year, albeit personally I still think he's playing well. He's going out there and giving it his all every night. The offensive results just really aren't there. Pretty much everything that could have possibly went wrong this season has went wrong, and it's really just been tough on the fan base for the entire year. But let's get into some numbers now and look at how bad this team really is. As of today, February 6th, the Detroit Red Wings have a record of 12 wins, 38 losses, and 4 overtime losses for 28 points. To give you guys a perspective on just how bad that is, the second worst team in the NHL, the LA Kings, have 43 points. That is a huge gap between 31st and 30th in the league. The Red Wings have a minus 96 goal differential, and again, to give you guys an idea, the other worst in the NHL is the Devils at a minus 49. So Detroit is far and away the worst in goal differential. They score about 2.01 goals per game, which is, you guessed it, 31st in the NHL, and they give up about 3.81 goals against per game, which of course is 31st in the entire NHL. And now taking a look at their special teams, they have a 14.5 power play percentage, which is 30th in the NHL, so congrats to them. They're not a dead last, but the penalty kill, 73.2%, is 31st, the worst in the entire league. Just like the thumbnail portrays, this team is an absolute dumpster fire right now. They can't score a goal for the life of them. They've been shut out in the past 2 games. And this tweet from Bailey Broadbent on Twitter really blew my mind. It stated, Alex Ovechkin has more goals than the entire Detroit Red Wings roster over the past 10 games. Ovi has scored 16 goals in 10 games, while the Red Wings are sitting at 15 goals in their past 10. I know Ovechkin is an unbelievable goal scorer. In my opinion, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time, but that is a ludicrous stat that one player is outscoring an entire roster over a 10-game span. The past couple of games, it has really seemed like the Red Wings were literally trying not to score, and earlier in the year, you guys know if you follow the channel, I was on the train of fire Jeff Blashill. At this point, I don't really care. He's gonna get fired at the end of the year anyways. Changing something mid-season like this really isn't going to make a difference. It's not like they're gonna go on some crazy run and make the playoffs. I think if they won every single game for the rest of the year in regulation, they still wouldn't even make it, which is just crazy. And sure, the Red Wings have a ton of really good young players in the system that we can all look forward to, but there are still so many bad contracts on this team that are weighing down this rebuild. You look at Justin Abdelkader's contract, which is just awful. The dude hasn't even scored still this season. Darren Helm's contract isn't very good. While I still think he can be a useful player, the contract is just way too much money. And then Danny DeKeyser, while I like him as a defenseman, he can't even stay on the ice for like 1/3 of a season. He's the most injury-prone player on this team, and that contract is too much for a player like that. And then what is probably the worst of them all is Franz Nielsen, who's not having a good year, and there's so much money, so much term, I don't even want to talk about it. These contracts are just giving me headaches. The silver lining is we do have Steve Yzerman as the general manager. I trust him to get things done. I really just think this rebuild is gonna take a little bit longer than we all might have expected. Another big bright spot is obviously Filip Zadina. You gotta look at these bright spots, because if you don't, you're just not gonna make it through the year as a Red Wings fan. Zadina's got 8 goals and 7 assists for 15 points in 28 games. Over an 82 game schedule, that's about like a 22 goal, 43 point pace, which for a 20-year-old rookie is very good. And Filip Zadina was one of the reasons why I was still looking forward to watching the Red Wings play every single night, but of course he had to get injured, and that's just yet another reason why it's so tough to watch them right now. And before the end of the year, I'm sure there still will be a couple things that we can look forward to. I'm hoping we're gonna get at least a 9-game stint in the NHL from Joe Veleno, because I actually really liked what I saw from him in the preseason, and I think he should get a little bit of NHL action this year. Veleno has gotten better as the season has rolled along down in Grand Rapids, and I really hope we at least get a glimpse of him in the NHL, even if it's just for a couple of games this year. And then of course course, he got Big Mo Sider, somebody that every Red Wings fan, including myself, is super excited about, and I definitely think we're going to get a 9-game stint from him in the NHL this season, similar to what we saw happen with Filip Zadina last year, and I've really liked what I saw from Sider in the preseason, so I hope we get another glimpse of him at the NHL level this year. The Wings are going to finish with the best odds at the #1 pick, so fellow Red Wings fans, we got to start praying because we need Alexis Lafreniere on this team in the worst way possible, and I feel like if Detroit does win the draft lottery and we end up drafting Alexis Lafreniere, all the suffering that we went through this season is probably going to be worth it. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. This is now my 3rd video dedicated to how bad the Red Wings have been this season. It's definitely going to be the last because honestly, not much can change from now till the end of the season that I haven't already talked about. So I'm sorry if you guys aren't a fan of the Red Wings and this isn't a video that interests you, but I really just wanted to talk about them at least one last time. And with all that being said, if you guys are a fellow Red Wings fan like me, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below how your feelings are on the season so far. I'm pretty sure I already have a good idea of what you're going to say though. And with all that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for some more NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.